The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
At Big Iron Auctions, customer satisfaction is our #1 goal. As the 40-year leader in auctions for agriculture, real estate, livestock, construction, and transportation, we are here to serve you. Big Iron will handle everything from start to finish. From meeting with you, to prepping your equipment, writing the listings, and collecting buyer's payments, let us do the heavy lifting for you. We love our customers, and we treat them like family. There's a Big Iron sales rep in your area, so let's get together. To learn more, visit bigiron.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. Marks with Sean Hackett. Sean Hackett is with Hackett Financial out of Boca Raton, Florida. He's nice enough to come on and talk about what's happening in the world of commodities. Sean, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Fresh back from the lovely state of Seattle, where I had a nice conference. Of course, it was 8-year conference earlier in the week, which was phenomenal. And so I'm back here in warm, sunny Florida, and trying to figure out all the moving pieces that a Trump election now provides. And so it's going to be a very dynamic period for a while with a completely new rule set, and so interesting times ahead for sure. I think it's going to keep us busy on your podcast here, Casey.
Yeah, it'll definitely give us stuff to talk about for sure. And if you take a look at what grains have done since the election day, you know, it would have been interesting to at least, be able to play devil's advocate here and see what it looked like on either side. But I think once the two things happened. One was the speed of the election coverage, right? And how fast that result came out. Neither one, I wasn't expecting it to be out for at least 30 days at tops who was going to be actual president of the United States, all the speculation, but it was such an overwhelming victory that there was no disputing it, right? Now it's just how big did he win is what you're actually counting at this point. You saw a quick reaction to not only the grains, also into the stock market had a huge rally at the same time as well. All the same stuff you saw the first time that he became president too. That was no big shock there. I guess, Shawn, as you look at this, what obviously we now know what field we're going to be playing on, right?
Yes.
So we can start making those plans and moving things forward from there. As you take a look at how crops have rallied almost in a lot of sense, almost 30 cents in a lot of places since Tuesday, I'm sorry. If you look at where some of the stuff fell in at, where do you see, and also the USDA came out there, we're going to talk about that too, but I mean, take that out for right now. Let's just talk about the reaction to Trump still. Where do you think that that power is coming from, that speed of movement in the market is coming from?
Well, I mean, the Sunday night, I guess it was, or Monday night, whatever it was. I'm sorry, Tuesday night. The markets got hit really hard, really hard. And then they rallied strongly the very next day. And I think what's going on is no one really knows exactly what's going to happen because Trump is a very volatile, changes his mind a lot, tweets a lot. He's a transactional deal maker. He tells you what he wants to do. He'll threaten you with wild threats of, I'm going to put 5,000% tariffs on everything, and that's his way of negotiating. But what actually happens is another story. In the meantime, until we know what he's going to do, until he knows what he's going to do, I think the physical buyers in the market are hedging their bets, no pun intended. What I mean by that, in case, he does a wild tariff, swift wild tariff increase across the border for most countries, I think physical buyers are going to book and gain extensive coverage in the physical market before they know for sure what that's going to look like, so that if it does happen, they can kind of weather through the storm and see it through without having to panic with supply disruptions or supplies not being available for a while or being super more expensive for a while. And so what I think we're seeing is some very strong buying coming into commodities overall, but especially things like grains, where the physical buyers are saying, look, we got a couple of months before he can really do anything. Why don't we just get a bunch of soybeans and corn and wheat bought while we can, while it's available, and get that buttoned up, so that if he does do something, we're okay. And so it sounds to me like we got a pretty good demand tailwind. We had some going before, the election. Some buyers were starting to do a little of that, and now with his election victory, I think they're doing it much more aggressively. We'll continue to do it more aggressively, and that's very positive for a demand-driven move higher in grains and a lot of commodities that buyers need from the United States. And so especially for grains, with weather likely coming back as a problem for Brazil here later on in November into December, I think we could get a much more extended rally than most people have been expecting. I think this week is a shock that we had this, I call it the rope-a-dope rally, where the big down and then the big up, and now we're going to end this Friday. Looks like we're going to end on a high note. So that's very interesting, right? It's just something different than everyone was worried about, and it might offer a really good ability for producers in the United States to get some cash sales on the books at prices that just a little while ago were not being viewed as highly likely. And I mean, if you look at where corn is, it wouldn't take a whole lot more to have a 450 plus corn market, which doesn't mean you're the wealthiest farmer on the planet, but that will pencil in a little bit better than $3 corn, which people were talking about in August being the likely reality. And so I'm very optimistic that the rallies that we can see here into December are going to be much larger, and I think they're going to offer good cash selling opportunities before Trump gets in and before we might have a lot more volatility, as we always do with him.
Right.
With his 3 a.m. tweets about making policy over Twitter. And so I'm kind of optimistic that window is going to open up, and just farmers need to be ready to take advantage of it, which, if it occurs, it makes the U.S. ag economy much less dire than many of the forecasts that have been out there about calling for, a farming depression. A $4.50 to $5 corn market and a $11 to $12 soybean market, while not the best, does not produce that kind of a depression in the ag market. It would be substantially better than that, and that's good for everybody involved in the agricultural food chain. Whether you're selling seed, whether you're selling fertilizer, whether you're doing insecticide, whether you're doing equipment, used equipment, everybody I think is going to see maybe a better outcome than they were feeling they were going to see just 30 days ago. So
right, yep. Yeah, it feels like when you're looking at some stuff there, and I talked about a little bit about this when we were at the Moving Iron Summit and opened up, that there was looked like there was some, we're seeing those movements in the markets, especially on the grain side, where we get a 15 or 20 cent run one week, and then they kind of sell off and kind of go back, and they kind of come back with a 15 to 20 cent run. We saw almost 20 cents this week. I was off a little bit when I guessed what it was, but it was about 15 cents. We saw today. Today's market, when it closed, it was we were up. Corn was up. December corn was up about 6 cents or so, and it kind of settled down about 3.5 cents up, 2.5 cents up, and corn, March corn finished up 3 cents. Soybeans were up at one time; they were up almost 12 cents, and they finished down January 3.5 cents. So you're seeing some buying and selling going off, taking off there. When you look at the USDA report that came out, they cut back on corn, cut back on soybeans. Cotton was just a little bit more than what they expected, but overall, it seemed like a pretty, I'm going to use the word bullish, but a very favorable report.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really interesting, we had a year where most people thought the weather was, for the most part, not everywhere, but for the most part, about as perfect as you can get.
Right.
And I think it's a surprise to many that the best we can do is, I think trend line yield on corn, I think the USDA had it at 182 and change is what they believe trend line should be.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in at low 183, marginally above trend. In a year that arguably we've had probably, it seemed that we had some of the best weather you could imagine, and we barely got above what supposedly is the trend line. And soybeans, same. I mean, we had dropped almost 2 bushel per acre on what everyone thought was going to be this unbelievable, top blowing yield of all time. I just find it very interesting that if this is the best we can do with probably as good a growing season we're going to see, at least for the month of July, that you're going to see. What's going to happen if we get some more problems, which I think next year are going to provide, meaning not as ideal, hotter, drier in a lot of places, just not perfect like we had. It almost sounds to me like we just showed the market what the top end yield's going to be for a while. Meaning, if everything's perfect, the best we can do is basically slightly above trend, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned over the last few years that when weather's not so good, we can be, low 170s on corn and well below 50 yield on soybeans. So I think that kind of puts a framework for best case scenario. What we haven't determined yet is the worst case scenario on yield, because we haven't had a major crop problem yet, right? So we've had the perfect crop weather, and now we have an idea of what that top end yield looks like. What's the downside? Like in 2012, I think corn was 120 yield. I think it was down close to 25 or 30% below trend. Can we see that again in the current world of genetics and precision farming and AI and all these? Can that happen again? Is it 15% down? Is it 20% down? The answer is no one knows until we actually have a major crop problem.
Right.
But I think what's really important is to establish what's the worst case scenario. And then the market can go with these two signposts ahead and say, if it's this, this is what it means. And if it's this is what it means. We've just established the top side, and it's actually a lot lower than many people thought it would be. Most people were thinking we could touch 190 yield this current year. Soybeans could be, maybe mid upper 50s. And it just didn't happen, Casey. It just didn't happen. So that's, to me, is pretty optimistic about the prospects going forward. Because we're not likely to have another crop year like this in terms of the weather being as ideal as it was, at least for the month of July. I don't think we're going to see another year like this for quite some time, and so that to me says that the late August low probably traded a really, really large supply number that we're probably not going to be able to trade again for quite a long time. And that means that was probably a very, very important low and bullish turning point like August of 2020 was. That doesn't mean it's straight up and it's on the way. It just means that probably was a very, very important low in grain markets. And from here, it's just a question of what's the pathway, how fast do we move, how many ups and downs, what's weather, what does Trump do? It's a lot of factors, but ultimately, I think we've turned a corner. And so I think that's a more optimistic scenario for producers, for users. And end users should be scared to death about what I just said. And they need to step up. We just said, many are doing it because of worries over tariffs. But domestic end users need to step up and get it done. They just need to get it done. Prices haven't rallied that much yet. They've rallied some, but they're still very, in my opinion, historically undervalued and a good value for physical end users. And they need to step up and get it done because I don't think they're going to have it much better than it is right now or has been.
Right on. Okay. Well, that's a good recap there, Shawn. Looking at things, there's again tons of moving parts. Kind of looking at the breakout here, where things played out at. If you look at each of the major corn producing states, all got bumped by anywhere between 1 to 4 bushels, depending on where you're at. And you do the math on that, it adds up pretty quick. And like you said, we've talked about this quite a bit on here. That this January report when it comes out and it's all said and done, and everyone's got their final numbers in, which could come out quite a lot sooner and a lot more accurate than it's been in the past, just because of the speed of harvest this year and how things trade together. So I think the accuracy of the January report will be pretty good because they'll have had a lot more time than
I know
than
on your
normal
show when we were at 2.2 to 2.3 billion bushel carryout from the USDA, and everyone was talking about 2.5 to 2.7, maybe 3 billion bushel carryouts. And I said for many podcasts that we did, that I thought our resting place, would be somewhere around 1.7, 1.8 billion bushels when it's all said and done. We're at 1.9 and change.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be pretty darn close to that number being the correct one. Now, 1.8 billion bushels isn't running out of corn, but it's not $3 corn. It's not $6 corn. I think the fair value for corn, based upon the current strong demand, based upon the weather issues in Brazil, the problems going on with winter wheat in Russia and their export tax increases, and when you put all together, I think the fair price for corn is somewhere between 4.5 and 5 right now. And like I said, that doesn't mean that that's the unbelievable, but that price does pencil out for most farmers. Yep. And that is a much better overall ag economy than just a few months ago where everyone was talking about. And so I'm up. Like I said, I feel really good about the prospects for a $4.5, $5 corn market and for a kind of $11 to $12 soybean market. Could we be much higher than that? Mother Nature determines that. We're getting into the very, very important phase for soybeans between late November and the end of December. Dry weather is coming back. Will it continue into December enough to create a greater crop shortfall in Brazil? That will have a lot to do with what that upper band is on soybeans. And of course, second crop corn is all about getting the crop planted in February and how that all looks. But I think there's going to be sufficient worry about South American and specifically North Brazilian crop production with weather, that that prices are going to provide a good window for farmers to get something done and get themselves where they need to be so they can literally lock the rest of their corn up in the storage bin. They don't have to worry about paying their bills. They don't have to worry about their banker anymore. And they can take a flyer on next growing season here in the United States and see what happens.
Right on. Okay. Good stuff as usual, Shawn. Folks want to reach out to you and get more information about what you're doing over at Hackett Financial. What's the best way to do that?
Our website is Hackett, Hackett, advisors.com. We also have a Twitter page at Faradix11. We also have a LinkedIn page. Time to time, we will put interviews and some tidbits out there about how we look at statistics, cycles, and correlations, and how we use that to make our ag economy and price forecasts and make recommendations to producers and end users to bring more money home on the farm.
Right on. Shawn, appreciate you being on the podcast, and I'll put you a little plug in here for you. Anyone that wants Shawn to come talk at their meeting or convention or whatever they got going on, highly recommend him doing that. He's been coming to mind now for, 3 or 4 years now. He's come and talked, and it's always got raving reviews, and everyone walks out of there learning something they didn't know before. So, Shawn, if folks want to hire you, what's the best way to do that?
The best things to do is go to Ag Speakers Network. That's our booking agent who we use to handle all that kind of details and stuff. And also there could probably put a site, the website on my Twitter page or your Twitter page, how they can go and make those arrangements if they want to see have me come and do some of the work that we do.
Right on. Okay. I'll put that in the show notes so you guys can find that. So that'll be good stuff. So, Shawn, appreciate you being on the podcast, man. We'll catch you again next time.
Sounds good, Casey. Look forward to it.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Check me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. Check out the video version at the YouTube channel, which is the Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel, and go to TikTok at Moving Iron Podcast, as well as movingironllc.com for everything Moving Iron related. I thought I forgot one of my social media ones there for a minute. Got so many I can't keep them all on my head. So check that out there, and we'll see you again next time. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Sean Hackett. Let's go some iron, folks. Out. Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century.